You would have noticed that Atiku boys have been wailing and crying and moaning and griping and squeezing and squirming and everything on the media's face.
I must confess, I am full of frustration, full of anger, but we need to collect ourselves back together.
Okay.
Sincerely speaking, I can't make much sense of what Atiku Abubakar is saying.
Some people didn't know that governor could lose election.
This is what the Northerner needs.
You're talking about Atiku, your VP?
My vice president.
I am not speaking here as an ADC member. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, out of frustration, I announced suspension of my membership. Because look,
I blame Atiku Abubakar for splitting the opposition in half. I think he's...
And sincerely, we're doing consultation, and within the next 1 week, we should be able to come out and say this is what how we are.
Hello guys, welcome back to Check Out Film. These are the words from the former vice president of Nigeria, Atiku. A former vice president of Nigeria is telling the Northerners that they should not vote for anybody who is not a Northerner. They should not vote for an Igbo man. They should not vote for a Yoruba man. They should only vote for a Northerner who understands the other part of the country. These are the words of Atiku. Don't worry, we will talk about Atiku, why he's so desperate for this. But there is this video that is trending now of General Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president of Nigeria, where he said that if I know what I know now about Atiku, I would not have chosen Atiku to be my running mate or even the vice president. And this was said today in the book launch of Charlie Boy, Area Father. So we will not bore you guys with a lot of story. I want us to watch that video. But before we do that, guys, please, if you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, click on the bell icon so that whenever I drop any latest update, you will be notified. Thank you very much.
The man I pick as my running mate, my number 2.
Che.
If I had known him as I came to know him later, I would not have picked him.
You're talking about Atiku, your VP?
My vice president. I don't know what name you want to give him, but my vice president. And I mean that, not true. But of course, what I know about him later makes me thank God, because God did not allow his actions and reactions to overwhelm me or to divert my own focus from Nigeria or to harm Nigeria even. So, and then there's no bitterness because, well, he did things that he believed he should do, and God did things that God had to do, which makes me to be able to achieve what I was able to achieve. So.
I know most of us might have already agreed with Obasanjo, because these are already an open secret to everyone. But it gives another way to it because it is coming from somebody who he served with. But now, there's this another part of the video, because many people will be saying Atiku is having malice because they were quarreling during his presidency. But there's another video I want us to watch. And this time, this is coming from the former aide to Atiku. And listen to what he has to say and why we Nigerians should never have the thought of voting for Atiku.
One day in 2020, there were rumors that the Senate wanted to amend the requirements for the office of president to raise the minimum qualification. And Atiku had felt that he was the target of that process. And so he had reached out to me frantically via email. In that email, he said that beyond the Senate, his children were also pressuring him, his family basically were pressuring him to run for office, and as such wanted him to acquire by any means necessary a higher certificate that would make him eligible to run for office. And so he wanted me to help him secure admission to any Nigerian polytechnic where he could purchase such a certificate without scrutiny. I secured admissions for him at Federal Polytechnic Ida and Durban Polytechnic in Abuja. He sent money and I paid his fees. But I had advised him that the scrutiny he wanted to avoid was not going to be possible because the ever-vigilant DSS were always around these schools investigating, and so there was no way he was going to avoid scrutiny. Acting on that advice, somehow he secured admission to Anglia Ruskin in the UK. I do not know how he did it, but he secured a master's degree from there. But he didn't go to school because he loves education. He went to school to fulfill his desperation of becoming president of Nigeria. In that email, he had mentioned the fact of his children forcing him, putting him under intense pressure to run for office again. I wondered why, but it didn't take too long for me to find out why. So Hawa is Atiku's daughter, one of his daughters, and she had told me herself that one of the reasons her brothers, especially Mo, whom she mentioned, would do anything for their father to become president was the fact that he knows that he must become a multi-billionaire should his father make it to that office. In her words, nothing will stop.
Now we listen to a former aide to Atiku. The reason he gave not to vote for him, because he knows that the children of Atiku are the one forcing him to contest over and over and over and over again. Because maybe they want to create the office of the first son. Tinubu already started it. We have a powerful first son that is even more powerful than governors, which were elected to their position. Now there's another video I want us to look at, and this time it is coming from a chieftain of ADC. And this man suspended his membership. He did not decamp to any political party. His Atiku frustration of ADC led to his suspension to kind of, let's say, okay, I'm not playing any politics with ADC anymore, but I'm still a member, and he's working under the ground to make sure that they have a consensus of an opposition candidate. Atiku should not be the one being in opposition. Let's listen to him, then you'll see the frustration in his voice.
Thank you, Ayo. First, let me clarify. I am not speaking here as an ADC member. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, out of frustration, I announced suspension of my membership. Because, look, we are faced with a serious challenge. Partisan affiliation will not get us out of this mess that we are facing now. I am ready to retain my membership of ADC on the basis of ensuring that we bring all leaders of ADC back to the negotiation. ADC is not, Nigeria is bigger than ADC. So I want to clarify that. I'm not speaking as ADC. And I believe if we are to move forward and present new template in the 2027 election that will give confidence to Nigerians, it's not about ADC or NDC or any other party, but people must agree to come and negotiate terms on the basis of which, if it is the ADC candidate that will be adopted, there will be objective criteria that will convince everybody that is the right way to go. If it is NDC, there has to be objective criteria. Look, we have, when we started the advocacy for the coalition and for the unity of opposition leaders, the expectation was that the political leadership in the opposition are rational people. They will be able to see the need and the danger before the country. But that is now subsumed in their personal ambition. And honestly, coming to your second question, this is part of the frustration. If you remember, as ADC, there was a 50-member committee, which I was privileged to serve as the secretary. And we did a very good work. And I am aware that there are so many discussions around the need to get that policy even unveiled. But if it's taking us this long after concluding the work, we have produced candidates, and the candidates are still conducting themselves the same old way. the question of account, we can unveil, we can come and make declarative statement about policy commitment. The extent to which we can get our candidates and when they get elected accountable and regulated in such a way that they conduct themselves to implement those policies and what is contained in the manifesto is already weak. So for me, you are right, very much right. Are you part of the, and which is why, is it yesterday or, yeah, I think it was yesterday, I had to cry out that Nigerians are confronted with the choice between the devil and the deep blue sea. Yes, President Asuwaju and APC have, for all intent and purposes, you can say have messed up, you know. But the confidence with which we can look at ourselves and say our leaders are better is also weak. So we need to challenge ourselves. Look, we are faced with a very, very big challenge now. If 2027 is going to produce the kind of result that will begin to pull this country out of the mess we are in today, we need a new round of negotiation. Part of the arrogance and the audacity of APC leaders and President Asuwaju is also the weakness of the opposition, which is why, although things are made, they keep saying, Asuwaju, the government is achieving a lot when there is nothing to show, you know. I mean, look, I must confess, I am full of frustration, full of anger, but we need to collect ourselves back together and begin to think of a pathway. And sincerely, we're doing consultation, and within the next 1 week, we should be able to come out and say, this is what how we are proceeding.
Mr. Saliu Lukman.
Now, let's come back to the video. You know, I said earlier that a former vice president of Nigeria telling the non-tanners not to vote for anybody or not to vote for an Iboma or a Yoruba person. This is when Atiku was actually making that statement.
Everybody knows that I need is somebody who is from the north and who also understands the other parts of Nigeria and who has been able to build bridges across the rest of the country. This is what the northerner needs. He doesn't need a Yoruba candidate or an Igbo candidate. This is what the northerner needs.
The desperation of Atiku is actually working for Tinubu. And that is the reason many people are saying that Atiku is actually working for Tinubu. If we don't know, you might see the banter between both of them, but under the ground or behind the scene, there's this probability, this tendency that Atiku is actually working for the successful re-election of Tinubu. Just like the way Dr. Kachi Ononuji said in this interview he did. I want us to watch it, then we'll come back.
I blame Atiku Abubakar for splitting the opposition in half. I think he's doing a job which that's well practiced. If the opposition had been together, if he had kept his toxic ambition aside and allowed the presidency to shift to the south, the opposition will have been together. Don't forget, Atiku Abubakar started this war of equity in 2013 where he formed the caucus known as NPDP, insisting that president should come to the north. He used that to now build a coalition with the ACN, with the CPC, with the ANPP, and with Orokorocha's faction of Abga. And then you now have APC, and that is it. But after 8 years of presidential rule by the northerner man who is Buhari, the right thing for Atiku to do is to allow the presidential pendulum to swing back to the south. He refused. He had been fighting it since, and that's why the opposition is currently divided. But then I'll tell you something. This is the truth about our country. There are those who do not yet believe that we should share this country equally. And we're seeing it now. So forget what you're saying. Atiku Abubakar is working for President Tinubu. It is Atiku Abubakar's toxic insistence that he must rule, even though Buhari ruled for 8 years. That's why the opposition is currently divided. And I know why he is doing this. So the opposition is weak. because they cannot speak with one voice. Of course, Adeleke tried to copy from Soludo, Kotoyin to Tinubu, thinking they will let him know. Tinubu has a personal interest in pocketing Osun State. So I see it as a war between the Adeleke family and then the Tinubu and his people and bloodline from Yeragbiji.
That is the truth. I don't think nobody will even argue that if Atiku is not really working for Tinubu. But now, Atiku said that the Northerners should only vote for somebody who understands the North, also who is from the North and understand the other part of the country. But now, there's this interview of Kwankwaso that I found so very much interesting, where he said a lot of things, even at the same time threatening anybody who will ring this election. That if they tries it, they know where these people live. The person is from their community, and the person is using the same blood with them. And if they tries it, although this message is also to the Tinubu regime or the Tinubu headquarters, but I want us to listen to this interview.
In this country. So we thank God for that, and we thank Nigerians. And let me also encourage Nigerians and thank them to believe in these arrangements as it stands. And I can tell you from my little experience in politics, it's very easy to remove federal government, especially that we have done it in the past. I'm sure I remember what we have done in 2015. And I think the situation is even more ripe now than it was in 2015. The anger now in the country, especially in northern Nigeria now, is huge. You could even see, even those who are campaigning for the APC, now most of them, if not all of them, have kept quiet because they have nothing to say. They have nothing to say. Of course, you have big names. The political contractors. You have many big men who are looking for protection and so on and so forth. They are just moving down there. You have most of the governors, if not all of them, on that side. Some people didn't know that the governor could lose election. I will advise those type of people to come and ask me, because I was one of the few governors that have lost election in 2003 when we had federal government, state government, local governments, and so on.
And the Konkosia movement.
Because the Konkosia movement, and we performed very well.
Yeah.
Why did I lose? I lost the election because of the wind that Muhammadu Buhari brought into the political space at that particular time, especially in northern Nigeria, and more especially in Kano State. And I can see the wind now blowing. It's
the
even
wind
stronger.
of Konkoso and Peter.
Yes, the wind of change in the country. So I can tell you, by the time election starts, all these governors will start running away, because everybody will tell them that the story is not good, it's not palatable, and they start hiding. And people who thought INEC or security agents will go and change figures, they don't know, they don't understand the dynamics of politics, or especially that of election. When it starts, I think everybody will start falling in line, because they are all human beings like us.
True.
They will go to the same markets, go to the same school, we come from the same villages, towns, and cities, and so on and so forth. And you go and ask them, the top security, the top INEC, the top this and that, may be interested in the continuation of the status quo. But I can tell you, the order will come from the one man there at the top. By the time it comes to the 5, 6, 7 people supporting him, the whole thing will change, because everybody will want fair and just administration. Everybody would want a good country, and so on and so forth. So I think we should all come together and bring this change, and even the people now in government will be happy with the change, because they are also beneficiaries of the change. So ordinarily they should be happy about it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Now, what Nigerians are waiting for is to hear that Atiku is stepping down, or Atiku coming out and saying, I've agreed to step down for Peter Obi, or I'm stepping down for Peter Obi. But in reality, would that ever occur? Do you believe Atiku will step down for anybody? So if you agreed or what is in your mind, please drop it on the comment section below. But as for me, I believe it will take maybe Jesus Christ coming from heaven to earth for Atiku to step down. But let's have hope, since the APC shifting say they will be doing some negotiation at the background and see what if they can tell Atiku to step down. So thank you very much for staying to this very moment, and I will leave you guys today, leave you guys here. Please guys, if you are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, click on the bell icon so that whenever I drop any latest update, you'll be notified. Thank you very much.